Welcome to One of Those, the show that explores the art of sneaker culture. I'm your host, Adam Butler, back with another episode. Thank you so kindly for being here. Today, we have a cool show for you guys. I would venture to say that it's pretty informative. I cannot wait to introduce our guest today because he's a really cool dude who has a really awesome app that I think is sort of showing you like the future of sneaker markets and how things are working. There's a few apps like this, but this one stands out to me. We're going to talk about it in a second, but before we jump to it, you know what it is. I got to let you guys know, I got to get the business out the way, okay? And look, it's my pleasure to do this business because I'm supporting the team, okay? You need to go ahead and subscribe to the Up On Game Network on all socials, on YouTube, and of course, all podcasting platforms. Man, we got new shows premiering every single day. It feels like, man, the guys are doing big things and putting in big work, man. It's going to be the #1 landing spot for content, for sports culture, and culture just in general, man. We just here. It's super dope. We on YouTube. You want to really check out the visuals, and you also want to go ahead and subscribe even to the audio thing. You want to listen to us while you're working out or while you're driving or whatever. Go ahead and subscribe to the podcast. We're on all podcasting platforms, and of course, we're on YouTube, the Up On Game Network. Okay, so the guest today is my man Ed, the CEO of the TradeUp app. TradeUp is a really interesting app that allows you to kind of socialize with other sneakerheads and trade sneakers with sneakerheads. Now, this is a trend that's happening within the culture that I think is pretty cool, especially with prices going down, especially with all of the hypes, trying to hold on and trying to fight out. Honestly, the prices are coming down, but it's still hard to get coveted sneakers, right? And people don't want to always go and spend $1 million on these things, and they have sneakers that maybe they don't wear, or maybe they have trade value, whatever it is, and they want to be able to trade them in a safe space. And for us sneakerheads, we know about meeting people at the back of the, they'll meet me in the alley somewhere, I got these sneakers, or meet me at the mall, or meet me in this parking lot in this sketchy situation, or we know about wanting to sell sneakers or trade and having to do it online with someone you don't really know. This app really just takes everything and streamlines it and makes it really cool. But I'm not here to do a commercial for him, okay? I'm not here to do a commercial for him. I'm going to let my man speak for himself because he's a good representative of his product. We talked about the TradeUp app. We talked about sneaker culture, where it is, and the future of sneaker culture, all of that. Let's jump right to it. What's going on, Ed?
What's going on, Adam, man? Thanks for having me. Appreciate you.
Oh, man, no problem. Look, so we're going to repeat a conversation that we had off air, but I just got to say real quick, and it's funny, I do a sneaker show, but most people don't come in and show I don't see their collection. It's wild how they were like they're in another room or whatever. The collection is not really, it's not visible, bro. It looks good. It looks good.
It's 30 years in the making. Let's say
I love it, man. That's the thing I always tell my audience, on this platform, my audience is, a lot of them are new to this. So, they're kind of surprised by people that own so many sneakers. And I try to tell them like, no, this is, we hoard our sneakers. We keep them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's when you're in this game, whenever you get into it, it happens like this, where you buy your first pair and then suddenly you're going down this rabbit hole of like, hey, I need this and I need that. And then you start getting into the history of things and you start going back, so mm-hmm. Yeah, it's many years in the making, brother. Many years in the making.
I love it, man. All right, so let's talk about this app. This app is extremely interesting to me, the TradeUp app. Let's talk about it. Let's start from the beginning, man. How did you come up with the concept of TradeUp, and what is TradeUp?
Absolutely, man. Listen, so a couple years back, the pandemic happened. I think we all know.
Yeah.
Everyone started experiencing new things, right? Yeah. And in my career, I've been a consultant my whole life. Man, I was traveling a lot, Now travel kind of halted, and I was, and I got a chance to be able to just sit at home and think through some of the passions that I've had in my life, I started joining sneaker groups, got really heavy into, had already been participating in sneaker Twitter for some time, but really got into sneaker Twitter to be able to really cop the kicks that I wanted, right? That was what was the goal. Like when I first started thinking about this, in terms of like getting deeper into the sneaker community, it was really about me getting kicks, and be able to get the releases that I wanted. What one thing that I did notice in that journey is folks trading sneakers informally back and forth.
Right.
Obviously, though, it created a bunch of, you know, some folks were cautious around it because, hey, there's no authentication that's happening, right? You might be meeting someone in some like random location. So I saw the end game of what a potential like official service to do this in the community safely and securely could be. But I was at that time I was just thinking about how do I get my hands on kicks. So I started trading for sneakers, and again I was faced with all of those little things, right? Like, hey, I didn't really want to like carry a $700 asset that I have into someone's like parking lot because I just had no idea who they were. I also was limited, right? There were people like in Michigan and California that wanted to trade with me but couldn't because essentially like how were we going to actually meet up and swap the items, right? So then that's when I started having a conversation with my co-founder, who's been a friend of mine for many years, an entrepreneur himself, and we started thinking like, hey, why don't we, now this is like April 2020, May 2020, and we started thinking to ourselves like, there's something here,
Yeah.
Well, the community needs this. They're trying to do it, but it's difficult to do without having something to be able to do it safely, do it easy, right? Do it securely, where with the rise of replicas and frankly, like where things are today as far as crime, like you have to have a safe and trustworthy place to do this. So that's where it all began. We started having conversations. Next thing we started like, polling our sneakerhead chats, and they were like, yeah, I would love this. Like, and that's where the journey began, man. And 2.5 years later, we've built TradeUp, what we think is the premier bartering marketplace for sneakers and streetwear. So we know that, your Supreme hoodie goes with, your dope J's. And we understand that you might want, to be able to transact not just sneakers, but also sneakers and clothing together. So we got, that was the initial vision. And we just came out of our beta about a couple of months ago. We launched officially in June. And if anyone's played fantasy sports, it's pretty simple, right? You browse our marketplace, you find something you want, and then you propose a trade for it. Now, if you wanted to include cash in that trade, you can do that as well. If you wanted to request cash, you can do that as well. We've made it very, very easy to be able to get your grails at a pretty affordable price, right? Because you're not actually paying for the shoe, you're trading for that item. So that at a high level is kind of what TradeUp is, how it started. And obviously I'm happy to chat about where we're going.
Yeah. The interesting thing about sneakers, right? Like I'll have a sneaker and I'll be, my wife will see me boxing it up, right? And she'll go, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, well I just traded this drink to someone, I made a trade or I'm selling it or whatever." And she's supportive and everything, but it's also like it's what? Like, she's not trading her red bottoms or anything like that, right? Like this is a thing that is very unique to sneaker culture, right? But you made a great point, and this is why I think this app is interesting, because there was a time where we were legit meeting people at in the parking lot at a mall or in the, even sketchier places, right? And you're right, you're holding like a $700 asset. Some people are holding like 3 or 4 sneakers to trade for one, and you never know what happened. And then also that replica point, I got burnt last year. I found a pair of off-white, Carolina blue off-white ones. Thought I'd hit, thought I hit the lottery, and sent the money. The money always got to go first, right? So you send me the money, you send the money, and then you wait a week or two for the sneaker to show up, and then it's a crapshoot. You get it, you open it, and this time they were reps, and I was very irritated, and I had to just take that L because I couldn't even, I got scammed, right? But it's like it's a crapshoot. Now I bought many sneakers from people, and it'd been the right thing, but it's that nervousness of, did I get what I paid for? You know what I mean? Your app, obviously it has security measures, legit check measures, which has been a big deal within the market for other apps and you know, other platforms. And I'm not here to make fun of anything like that. It's a difficult thing to do. You know what I mean? What are some of the, how did you all go about creating some of the security measures to make sure that people aren't trading replicas and trading fakes and things like that?
Yeah, it's a great question, man. Listen, it's been of the utmost importance for us as a company, and for me, right, in terms of not just being the CEO at TradeUp and understanding that, literally one replica getting through authentication could really tarnish our reputation, but just frankly, as a sneakerhead, right? Like when I'm a user of this product, and if I'm trading items, I want to make sure that the items I'm receiving, like I'm a person that gets all my kicks directly from the large retailers, right? Like so I know they're authentic. They're coming on wins on sneakers, seldomly as they are, but they're coming from the Foot Lockers of the world and the Finish Lines of the world. So the big retailers where you don't really have to worry about it, right?
Right.
But as a user of other sneaker market places in the past, I know that really has existed, and it has been a real obvious issue of trust, but also frankly of getting it right. So that was big for us, and what we've done there is we've implemented a two-step process. So I think everyone understands that you need a human authenticator, someone that actually been trained to authenticate items, that has that experience at them. I think most companies probably at this stage realize that and have that resource. But there's a second component to that, which is the AI component, the software AI component to it, which I think also becomes extremely critical. So we put our items, every item that comes in that's been transacted across on our marketplace, it goes to two steps. It goes through an AI authentication process, and then it also goes through a physical authenticator. If there is a if there's a mismatch between those two, if one authentication process says one thing and the other says another, and we bring in a third physical authenticator, right? To basically review those results and make the ultimate determination. But we're always going to be more on the safe side.
Right.
Because, obviously, I mean, replicas there's a whole business built around replicas. And I'm not knocking those who rock replicas by any means.
Right.
But it's just not something that I rock, right? So a lot of our users don't want replicas. So we don't, by policy, allow any replicas at all transacted. But then we take that enforcement action. Now, I will say, we've also made it a point to make sure that we track the authentications of our users. That if someone is just constantly willfully sending in replicas, that person might not be able to just be part of the marketplace, right? And that's big too. The other part of this, Adam, is we think connecting the social media world to the marketplace actually is starting to also be something that our users want. And what I mean by that is bringing in your social media personality and acting as that person on our marketplace also is starting to give some of our users a little bit of a peace of mind, because they actually your collection, right? They can relate to you. They can see that you're in the game, so to speak. Versus, some random like unknown user, which by the way, totally fine as well. We don't require you to link your social media accounts, but we encourage you to say, hey, use your same social media handle on TradeUp that you do on Instagram or Twitter. And it's all about building this community for us, right? So I think the more that we build that community, and we're like really focused around that, the more trust users will gain, not just with TradeUp, but also with their trading partner.
I like that a lot, man. I really do. Let's focus on the community piece again, because that's something that's really big and something I really try to teach and stress when talking to someone that may be a novice and new to sneaker culture. That community is a big deal, and apps and platforms like this are cool. Do you consider yourself, I mean, obviously it's a trading app. Obviously it's a business. Hey, we're trading this sneaker for that. But do you consider yourself Or do you want to consider yourself more of a community app, meaning somewhere where people can converse and talk about the sneakers and talk about the culture and kind of get into it? Or are you more of a like, hey, this is a place where you can trade and excuse me, and buy sneakers or what have you? Or is it more of a community piece? Like, is that the future of where you want to go? Where it's like I don't want to call it a social media platform, but
Sure.
maybe it's a social media platform, you
You
know?
know what? It's a hybrid, man. It
Mm,
really is. Like, obviously, we want to make sure that we provide an easy user experience to do what
mhm,
you aim to trade up to do, right? Which is to size swap out a shoe, which is to get a grail
mhm.
because you got, a couple of shoes that you no longer want. And by the
Right.
way, like, there's a whole set, like, there's a whole number of people that just mess with used sneakers,
Mhm. Yep.
and we've provided that ability to do that. There's some that just won't, but that's
Yeah.
fine. It's
Yeah.
really about what you're into. But absolutely, man, for us, it's gonna be about merging those two worlds.
Yeah.
Yes, the transacting piece is gonna be big because we want to make sure, as I said, that you come in and do what you need to while you're transacting on TradeUp.
Yeah.
But we also want you to build some long-term connections with people.
Yeah.
And that's why there's many steps that we're taking to that. Obviously, we're going to go the traditional Discord route, and we're going to
Mhm.
create, community engagement places for our users to go and interact with each other. But we're also going to provide ratings,
Yeah.
so that when you transact with people, you in earnest can leave a review on that transaction and start building sort of some like street cred, right? Sort of
Mhm.
on the kind of user that you are.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're going to be publishing pieces across the site that's relatable to things that we're all interested in.
Mhm.
So absolutely, man, like that is the future for sure. We realize that not only is this a tight knit community, but it's one that is very engaging, right? You've got to
Yeah.
be able to go out and reach that engagement with folks, connect people, and I think that's where people feel more comfortable transacting in our marketplace.
Yeah, I think about, and I may sound like a hypocrite right now because I am a content creator in sneakers, right?
Sure.
But I feel like since the pandemic, most people started podcasts, and it made sense. People sitting at home. I mean, I started podcasts, and a lot of them have become super successful. TikTok kind of blew up during the pandemic as well. There's so many creatives in this space, so many people that talk about sneakers and are experts on sneakers.
Yeah.
And I don't see enough people that are just like, yo, I'm just a person who just likes sneakers, right? I feel like a lot of people, and I feel like that bubble, that hype beast bubble, really expanded and got extremely close to bursting if it didn't burst, because there's just so many people in here that are like trying to profit off of sneakers as opposed to saying, I'm a collector of it. Um, and so I like the community piece of it because of that. This isn't just about your app. This is just about sneakers in the community of sneakers. What do you think needs to be? Do you think there's anything lacking within the community that needs to be rebuilt? Like, again, that's just my opinion. I think there's just too many people talking about it all the time, as opposed to, well, there's too many people trying to profit off of it as opposed to trying to be a genuine collector and just doing it for fun. Frankly, that's just my opinion. If there's anything you would think, what do you think that could be added back to the community to strengthen it?
Yeah, and that's a great question. And like to your point, I think a part of why we probably as old
Mm,
quote like sneakers
yeah.
feel that way is because um there's sneakers have gone from just being something that we like to do to like
Mhm.
portfolio.
Mm, mhm.
Um, you know, and like again, companies like StockX, companies like Go, great companies like
Yeah.
eBay, they've, you know, they've made things where you want to go and like actually itemize your collection, right? Like
Mhm.
stocks almost,
Mhm.
and look at the value of it. So now when you start attaching money and you start attaching an upside to items,
Yeah.
I think we all know what happens, right?
Yeah.
There's a there's a level of the culture that you lose a little bit when it comes to that because you've got the rise of, and by the way, it's not really the rise of resellers. Resellers have been around forever. You know that.
Forever. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
now with, you know, a real easy way to, get, offload inventory.
Yeah.
The dollar is king. I think, to go back to your question, it's probably a little bit less of that needs to happen. A little bit less of the quote unquote sneaker greed that goes on, right? Because a lot of folks now, and this is just, at least even in my circles, right? Like old school sneakerheads, they can't get their sizes, they can't get their releases. So they don't want to be resellers, but in some form, way, like in some shape, form, or way, they become one.
Yeah.
Because it's not even that they want to make a profit. They want to actually get a shoe they want.
Yeah.
And the only way to get that shoe is to get other shoes that you can offload or pay high resale prices,
Yeah.
Now, how do we get away from that? It's gonna be difficult, man, because we live obviously in a capitalistic society, and until there's, at least until the supply and demand issue is there, right? And right now it clearly is there. But to your point, I do see prices coming down across the board on things. A little bit more of the true love for the game, though, could really help, And I think that's where this community aspect comes into play. That's like you said, has been missing a little bit. Is, let's really do this for the collector of it all versus the reseller of it all, right? And again, nothing against resellers, but for folks that actually want to use the product, is a little bit difficult to that. That's part of actually the reason why I started TradeUp, right? Because I wanted to be able to get my hands on that product and having the inventory and collection that I already have. I found that to be an alternate way to do that, at a much, much more cost-effective way. So,
yeah, you went right where I wanted to go, and where we could begin to end. I think it's a full circle, because that's why this app is cool, because it's about trading, and it's not, again, to me, the mission isn't to stomp out resellers and stop hype beasts. No, it's to add balance. If you want to talk about this, like we talk about world politics or something like that, like, it's not, people have fun, do what you want to do. But what makes the game more fun and feel more accepting to people who are trying to learn about it and get into it, I think that building communities and having other options to get what you want, because you just said it, there are people who hoard a couple of sneakers because they want to make some money so they can get the sneaker they want in their size. Cool. But also, if I can say, hey, look, I have this, I have that, let's trade for this.
Yeah.
On a safe platform, so you eliminate the thing that had always been in sneakers about people getting robbed, people getting, you also eliminate the thing that popped up that was kind of new in sneakers, with people getting scammed because the reps, again, if you wear reps, that's what's up. I've done plenty of shows about people wearing reps, and I'm not judging, but people that don't want to get their hands on reps and getting scammed off of reps, because now you just have to depend on sending your money to somebody out in Idaho and you don't even know who that person is. Now you found a way to streamline it all. You have that community aspect, and you also have the ability to say, look, it's not necessarily about cash, but I do have these, I have these, bread 11s, I might want to trade them. And you may have always wanted that sneaker in a size 11. Oh my God, let's make the trade.
Yeah. And that's what we're seeing that a lot right now. Like, we're seeing, let's be honest, inflation through the roof.
Yeah.
The economy, the way things are going, there's not there's reasons why why you see resale prices coming down on all these goods,
Yeah.
But one good way to still participate in the community and in your particular hobby that you love, and to be able to get these releases, is to trade for them.
Yeah.
And so I think that as we get into the future, like the future of TradeUp, we'll see how we expand and scale as a company, but we're laser focused right now on being able to provide that really, really easy, safe, and secure trading experience. And it's fun, man. You're able to go in, see what releases out there, and get creative with your trades, right? And start interacting with people. And frankly, with all these crazy releases coming up, like the lost and found ones, those are gonna have, I'm sure, a ton of traction on the marketplace. And people, with what you see now, I don't know if they're true or not, but all the backdooring that's going on, we will see how this all shakes out.
Yeah.
But one way and one alternate way to get a pair of your hands, to get your hands on that pair is to go on TradeUp.com and trade for them.
Yeah. 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 I made a bold prediction on this show that the sneaker was going to be available, but the back door to scare me. So I might have to hop on TradeUp and do my thing.
So it's 500,000 pairs.
Yeah.
What I'm hearing, right? From what we're hearing in all these, all the verified sources.
Right.
So the question is how many of those actually reach the people that are going to wear them?
Reach the people. Yeah.
That's really the question for me,
Yeah.
If I had to take a guess, half of that.
Yeah.
And the other half probably end up, across the different marketplaces and sites and stuff like that. But we'll see. Hopefully I'm wrong on that.
Yeah.
But 500,000 pairs is enough that it should,
it's enough to feed
not everyone's going to get a pair.
Yeah.
You try hard enough, you should be able to get a pair.
Right.
And if you strike out on retail, hopefully the trade asks aren't as so come see us.
There you go. I like how you did that, man. I like how you did that. All right, let's wrap it up with this, man. Just tell me what the future TradeUp is, what's next, and let people know how they can get their hands on this app, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, so what's next is we're going to become the premier marketplace to trade your sneakers and streetwear. Obviously, our goal in the future is to be your one-stop shop. So there's a lot more to come on that. But ideally, in a we see a world where you use TradeUp for everything sneakers and streetwear related. So there's a lot more info coming on that we have some large announcements coming over the next couple of weeks on that. We actually have a exclusive promotion right now going on. If you sign up before November 4th, you automatically will get a code emailed to you with a 50% off your first trade on our fees. So go and do that. Try TradeUp.com. Real simple. You could do it on the mobile. You can do it on the desktop. Try TradeUp.com. Sign up. You can use Google as well to sign up. So it'll take you less than 10 seconds. And start adding to your collection, man. And then start having fun with it. Start searching for shoes that you want, items that you want. Start proposing trades, and yeah, that's what we're going. A lot more to come, hopefully, in the next couple weeks to share with you guys. But come check us out.
Beautiful. I love it, man. Ed, thank you so much for joining me, man. I look forward to talking to you again.
Absolutely, man. Adam, it's a pleasure. Thank you for having me, brother.
All right, brother. Yo, big shout outs to all the folks over there at TradeUp, man. They've been showing me a lot of love, man. I've been having conversations with them. They're really, really cool. I do endorse this app, man. I think it's really cool. I've used it before. I support it. I support it, man. And I do support technology helping out people that have like niche interests, right? My son is starting to get into Pokemon cards. We started to go out and trying to find him stuff like that. You know what I mean? And we wanted to be safe. We wanted to be legit. And we want him to be able to enjoy trading his cards and playing the game with other people and being able to supervise. And that's why I think this is kind of the same, right? Like people trade sneakers all the time. People buy sneakers all the time. Why not make it safe and why not make it fun, man? And I think what they're doing over there at the TradeUp app is really, really fun. I think they have something really cool going on. I see a future for that, and I'm proud of them, man. And I was very happy to talk to my man. He's super cool. I've been talking to my boy. Shout out to my man Marcus too. We've been having conversations, and I just really, really enjoy what they're doing. And I like seeing entrepreneurship, man. I like people seeing the game, looking at it, and going, you know what, man? How can I make it better, and how can I make it work out for myself, man? So best of luck to all the folks over there at TradeUp, man. You guys are doing really, really cool things. Thank you for joining me on the show. Thank you guys for listening to the show. As always, I always appreciate you all. You all are super dope, and you all are keeping this train moving. You don't even understand how much the support means to me. So thank you so much. Okay, remember, subscribe to the Up on Game Network on all social platforms, on all podcasting platforms, and of course on YouTube. Go ahead and follow the team, the On My Feet Network, all right, on all social platforms, and of course on YouTube. Shouts out to the squad. And of course follow me on all social platforms, MSR_Adam, MSR_Adam, and of course I'm on TikTok at The Butler Did It Podcast, okay, at The Butler Did It Podcast. Hit me up. I got content going on over there, and we keep the conversation going. Okay, remember to mind your mental health. Always do that. Mind your mental health is vital. Remember to mind your physical health. Never forget that. And please don't ever forget, and please continue to be great. I'm up out of here. Peace.